Shalom and welcome to this week's edition of Bisselle Torah. Pinchas is the name of the Torah reading that we're looking at this week, and it actually began at the end of last week's Siddur when we word Balak, which was all about a king who wanted to destroy the Jewish people by employing a sorcerer to curse the people and bring about an end to them. Pinchas, on the other hand, is all about a zealot who took matters into his own hands and wanted to defend the honor of God and the honor of God's mitzvot by acting impetuously, righteously, but impetuously. There is this idea that somehow there's this leakage where at the end of last week's Torah portion we began to talk about Pinchas and it just carries over to this week. But yet last week's Siddur Torah portion is always disconnected from this week's Torah portion. Why do I say that? Because many Torah portions during the course of this time of year especially are together. We have two Torah portions that are merged into one. We have that quite often. But these Torah portions are never combined. They're never combined, I think, for a very good reason. Because one of them speaks about tremendous anger, and the other one speaks about tremendous umbrage, the zealotry of Pinchas. Something that seems to be very hard to bridge nowadays is understanding how to keep those ideas not only separate, but to bridge them and to walk carefully through them as opposed to living in one or the other. What I'm referring to is that many of us are firmly rooted on the left. Many of us are firmly rooted on the right. For those of us who are firmly rooted on the left, we close our ears and we don't listen to what the right has to say. And same with the right. We close our ears to hear what the left has to offer. The truth is that the truth abides in both. There is truth in both of them, and there are lies in both of them. And the good searching mind knows that you have to bridge the gap that exists between those diametrically opposed positions and find that middle ground, which is the most humane way to travel. There's a wonderful story that's told by Morris Silverman of an army that was traveling through a desolate country, and they came upon an area where there was a huge fire on the right-hand side that was consuming the hill. And there was an ice mountain on the left-hand side that was frigid and cold. How are we going to get across? The wise captain of the people said, we're going to walk through the middle. We don't need to be excoriated, and we don't need to be frozen to death. Through the middle is the right path. And I think that's what Pinchas tries to teach us, the middle way, to listen to all opinions. And only after we've heard all of the salient, cogent positions do we then end up making up our own mind of how to proceed. This is the way of Torah. This is the way of Pinchas. This is the way of God.